What's up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Ashley here, and today we are going to be talking about all things brand sponsorships. Now, this is probably the top question that I get all the time. People always ask, how am I able to partner with brands, get free things like that? And I have been blessed to be able to work with so many brands over the course of 9 years as a content creator. So today I'm sharing all my tips and tricks and helpful information on how to get sponsored by brands. Some of you may be wondering, am I even ready for a sponsorship? And honestly, the answer to that question is you can be ready at any time. So today I'm going to break down some of what brands look for, how to reach out, and how to turn your business into a big opportunity. So first things first, if you're thinking that you need a ton of followers to land a sponsorship, we just gonna nix that now because that's not necessarily true. Yes, followers do help, but it's not everything. When I got my first sponsorship back in 2017, I actually only had like 2,000 to 3,000 followers, and I was still able to land a brand deal. So it's not always about the followers. Now, what really matters is having an engaged audience. So when I started, like I said, I only had around 2,000 to 3,000 followers. I was just starting and I had no idea about woodworking. I had never done it before. I just saw some people doing it online. So when I started, I was knew nothing. But my mindset was never like, I'm small, I don't have a lot of followers. It was always, okay, what can I do to be unique? Like, what do I bring to the table? And instead, my focus was, how can I create high quality content that people need, and how can I stand out? You can be like a lot of creators and say, okay, I'm small now, I'm not going to get a sponsorship. Or you can change your perspective and say, okay, what can I offer as a new creator? For me, I was in woodworking and I had no idea what I was doing. I was learning. But instead of trying to be, say, a teacher of woodworker and showing people how to do it, I leaned into being a smaller creator and not knowing woodworking. So I would put out woodworking projects and say, y'all, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I just built that table. And if I can build this table, so can you. And people leaned into that because they could relate to it. So it was a change perspective. And I used that to create a way to build a portfolio and create an engaged audience. And honestly, you really never know who's watching, because a lot of times when brands follow you, they're not following from the brand account. They're following from other accounts, their private accounts, and normally they're not big accounts. So it's hard to really tell who's watching. So even if you don't have any brand sponsorships, always act as if people are watching and people are looking at what you're doing. So even if you haven't had a brand sponsorship and you're hoping to have one, this is a great time to build your portfolio, start creating that high quality content, because when you reach out to brands, you best believe they're going to be looking at your profiles and your social media and the quality of the content you're putting out. So make sure that you're using this time now to build a healthy portfolio. So perspective is everything. And before we get into the nitty gritty, I need you to know that you can't see yourself as small. You have to ask yourself, how am I unique? What can I bring to the table? Because the truth is, if you don't see the value in what you're doing, how can you expect a brand to? Now, once you're confident in your value, the next step is visibility. Make yourself visible. Now, in a world where there are tons of creators, especially now, I feel like since I've started, everybody's a content creator. It may seem daunting to try and make yourself visible, but you have to make yourself visible to the brands or brand that you're trying to work with. Now, one of the ways to make yourself visible is by leveraging social media. And I know that sounds easy, but a lot of people actually miss this step. So social media is social. You need to be social. So what does that mean? That means following the brand that you want to work with. I've heard stories of people like pitching to brands and they weren't even following them. Making sure you're following the brands, but not just being a ghost follower, actually engaging. So when I first started, I really wanted to work with Ryobi Tools. So what did I do? I followed them. I turned on my bell notifications for all their posts. And my goal was always to try to be the first one to comment when they posted. That didn't always happen, but that was my goal. So I was always engaging with them and making sure that they knew who I was. It's like, if I want to work with them, they got to know who I am. And I was always posting them in my content. And here's the thing, we can't just want brand sponsorships to get free stuff. Like, if that's why you're doing it, then this video isn't for you. But if you're really trying to build a brand partnership over time that lasts, you have to be willing to invest in their product as well. So I went out and I invested in some Ryobi tools, and I made videos specifically highlighting those tools, tagging Ryobi in it so they could see the type of content that I could give them, because sometimes that's what it takes to be visible. And literally, if you see my DMs, you could see that I was tagging Ryobi over and over and over. Same thing with Home Depot. I've worked with Home Depot over the last 9 years, and I can show you my DMs. Like, literally, if you go, you can see me mentioning them like over and over and over. And brands like that. They like organic tagging, organic mentioning, and you want brands to see that when you pitch to them that you actually like their stuff, you've used their stuff, you've tagged them, you've mentioned them, so it's more of an organic reach. So make yourself visible, comment, engage with the brand that you want to work with. A good thing is also trying to find their specific hashtags. A lot of brands have hashtags that they use. So a lot of times if there's a brand that I want to work with, I try to find that hashtag. You can easily go through some of their posts and see the popular hashtags. And a lot of times the brand reps check those hashtags. For example, I work with Benjamin Moore, and Benjamin Moore is their literal hashtag Benjamin Moore. So anytime I post Benjamin Moore paint, I use the hashtag. Again, making yourself visible. Because again, when it's time to pitch to the brands, you don't want them to realize that you haven't even interacted with them at all. Like, pitching a brand and not even following them is crazy work. Another way that I make myself visible is by researching the brand. So a lot of times if you go on brand's website, not their social media, they either have programs or things that they have going on that you can sign up for, be a part of, and that is another way to become visible. For example, Ryobi, when I went on their website, I noticed that they had a whole separate website called Ryobi Nation when I started, for people that really love their tools and for people to post their projects using Ryobi tools. So I joined their website and I started posting all of my projects on their website. This was independent from social media. So of course I gained visibility because I was someone who was always posting on their independent website, and I actually ended up winning some free tools. So that was a way for me to become visible. And then Ryobi followed me back. They even posted some of my posts because, again, like, day in, day out, I'm posting Ryobi. I'm like, they gonna know who I am. So make yourself visible. That's the first step. Before you even pitch, you want to make sure that you're mentioning them, tagging them, making yourself visible, interacting with the brand, and organically incorporating it into what you're doing. And I can attest, the organic tagging and mentioning definitely does help. When I finally actually reached out to Ryobi to pitch to them, one of the things that the guy said was, hey, I've been seeing you online, I've been seeing you on our website, and we love what you're doing. That's what you want. You want, when you pitch, for them to already kind of know who you are. Now, another way to become visible, which may be a little out of reach for some people, is attending conferences, attending network events. This is huge. Now, I have a story about partnering with Andersen Windows. Some of you may seen my videos. I was able to be gifted free windows from Andersen. And it's actually a funny story because I reached out to them, gave them a great pitch. I had been, doing all the things, engaging with them, tagging with them, but I never received a response. And I was kind of bummed because I really wanted to work with them. And then I was able to go to a conference in Washington. It was actually a designers conference, DIY and designers conference. And one of the brand personnel for Andersen was at that conference. So I was able to meet her, have dinner with her, hit it off, had an amazing time. And when I got back home, she reached out to me, and that is how I was able to create that partnership with Andersen Windows. So don't knock those networking events. Sometimes that's a way to meet brands and really just other creators, and it's a great way to kind of get your name out there, get immersed in the creator community, and you definitely need that. Over the course of 9 years, I can say I've met some incredible creators, incredible brands, just from going to events and going to those conferences. So don't miss out on that, because I can tell you it's way better to meet someone in person, kind of fill them out and kind of build that relationship in person versus online. And I don't know that I've ever met a sponsor in person that it didn't end up in a brand partnership down the road. So please, please, please be sure to research and kind of see whatever your niche is. Like, are there events, conferences, things like that that you can attend to get your name out there? Now, once you have that confidence, you're feeling good about what you're bringing to the table, you're visible, you're on social media, you're engaging, you're organically tagging. Now it's time to reach out to the brand. And sometimes they may not reach out to you, so you got to make the first move. So let's get into how do we reach out to brands. So the most important thing is where to send your pitch. Now, you don't just want a general email, because most brands have a general email somewhere on their website, maybe on socials, but we don't want that. You want to try and get the direct contact to who's ever over social media or things like that. So the main way that I get that contact is simply by DMing them on social media. Usually I use Instagram, and 90% of the time this way is effective. So I simply just send a simple DM like this to try and get that direct contact. Now, you do not want to pitch your project in a DM. Please don't do that. I've done that in the past years ago. That is a no-no. All you want to do is get that contact. And typically, because it is a short DM, they don't mind responding back. Typically, I'll get an answer that day. And again, 90% of the time, that works. Now, once you get that contact, then you can email them your pitch. Now, another way that I have used in the past is by using LinkedIn. I'll search the brand itself and look at the employees, and I'll try to search for a common term like influencer relations personnel, something like that, to kind of find that contact. Now, finding the email really is the easy part. It's the pitching that's really the work. And I detail all of this stuff in my ebook, How to Pitch to Brands. So if this video is of interest to you or it is helping you, this ebook will be great for you, because I go into detail how to pitch, how to reach out to brands, and things like that. But I just want to go over a few pitch do's and don'ts to help you in your pitching. Now, the first thing is the subject line, because this is the first thing that the brands will see before even clicking on your email. You want to make sure that this is unique. Not too crazy, but something that's going to grab their attention. Sometimes I'll, include a funny phrase. I think for Andersen Windows, I said something like, "My windows are hanging by a thread, help." So again, just something that makes it stand out. Sometimes I often will include my handle as well. I'll do something like @SmashingDIY X the brand name, especially if I know I've been engaging a lot. And sometimes if they do know you and they recognize your handle, they're more likely to kind of click on it and engage. The second thing is being careful about attaching PDFs. Sometimes when you attach a PDF, especially if it's really big, it can trigger your email as spam, and you don't want to go to the spam box. Absolutely don't want to do that. So a lot of times, instead of attaching a PDF, I will add a link. Now, adding a link sometimes can do that as well, but it's more likely to go through if you just use a link instead of attaching a PDF. And the third tip is to personalize your pitch. You should not be copying and pasting your pitches to brands. Like, it should not have the same thing. You should be personalizing your email with research that you've done and things like that. And again, that's why I talked about researching your brand beforehand. That can help you in your pitch. For example, if there's a furniture brand that I'm wanting to reach out to and I notice that they just released a new couch, I'm going to throw that in there like, "Hey, I just noticed you just released this new sofa. I think this will look amazing in this new office transformation that I'm doing. Check out this last office that I did that got 1 million views." Like, some things like that. Make it personal so that it doesn't feel like it's just a generalized email. And that way you build trust with the brand, because they can tell if you've taken the time to research and, add in those little personal details here and there. Now, I will say this. You want to make sure that you are selective with who you work with. Please don't just work with any old brand just because they're offering to pay, because that is the quickest way to lose trust with your audience. With me, my followers know that I am not just going to promote any old thing. I only promote products that I genuinely love or use, and that has built trust with my community. So when I do promote things, they don't mind buying or checking it out because they know that I'm honest. I have seen creators in the past, they would just work with any brand that comes their way because they just want to make the money, and that is not the way to go. Trust me, I know bills are due and you got to pay your bills, but do not just take any old brand deal. Taking a whole bunch of brand deals here and there, you know, trying to make money, like, that's not the best way. Quality over quantity. I also want to mention that if you're in a place where you are pitching to brands and trying to get brand sponsorships, you want to make sure that you have an idea of what your rates are. And that's just what you would charge for a video or whatever deliverables that the brand is wanting. Now, this is also something that I talk about in my How to Pitch ebook. I don't want to get into that in this video because we will literally be here all day. That's a whole nother video. But make sure you have an idea of what your rates are, what you want to charge, because likely if the brand does want to work with you, they are going to be asking you for your rates, what you charge, and things like that. So that's just something to look out for. Now, I have heard a lot of small creators say that they have reached out to brands or brands have reached out to them, but they are only offering gifted partnership. And what I want to say to that is I feel like that should be a case-by-case basis. I don't think you should automatically say no, and I don't think you should automatically say yes. I would say you have to figure out what works for you. For example, I don't typically do gifted partnerships, but if there is a project where I already have use for a product and a company is offering that product and I'm going to buy it anyway, then I'll take the product because that's a no-brainer. For example, I'm doing a room makeover series and this company reached out to me saying, hey, we'd love to give you a dresser. Can you do a video? That makes sense to me because I'm already buying a dresser and they're willing to gift it to me. It's a company that I work with. I know their furniture is reputable, so it makes sense to go ahead and do that gifted collaboration because now I don't have to buy it. But in a case where, you know, someone's just wanting me to do a video and I have no plans for it, then in that case, I typically would charge. But I will say, even if a brand reaches out to you about a collaboration and you're not interested, always respond and respond professionally. Typically, if a brand reaches out and I don't want to work with them, I always make sure to respond and I'll say something like, unfortunately at this time, I don't have the bandwidth or use for this product, but maybe in the future we can work together. Thanks so much for your consideration, or thank you so much for considering me. And then, you know, I wish them well. And I do that because in the PR marketing world, people move around a lot. And I have found that people can be with one brand and in 2 years they can be with a whole nother brand. You always want to be professional because you never know where they're going to go. Or in the future, you may need use for that brand. You just never know. But you always want to be professional. You always want to respond. And it's just good practice. And if you think about it, if you're pitching to a brand and they don't respond to you, that doesn't feel great. So you don't want to do that in return. You reap what you sow. So always respond back to people, even if it is a no. It's just good practice. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more details on the next video. And make sure you leave in the comments any questions or leave your dream sponsorship. All right, y'all. Later.